Hello boaters, welcome to Narrowboat Journeys. I'm Phil, and I've lived aboard my narrowboat for over 30 years. I travel the canal system with my two cats, Bushka and Midge, and today we're on the Upper Peak Forest Canal. In this video we'll be travelling through Furness Vale, and then on to Whaley Bridge, and then I'll show you a little bit about Toddbrook Reservoir. We've had a bit of trouble there recently. So let's have a look at the map. We're starting at the yellow marker at the top of the map, travelling down the canal to the yellow marker near the centre of the map. As you can see, the canal splits in two near the end. In this video we'll take the arm that leads down to Whaley Bridge, and in the next video we'll go to Bugsworth Basin. But before all that, we've got to go through another swing bridge. This is an early morning trip. It's a lovely day, the sun is low in the sky and generally pointing straight towards us, so it does make for some quite tricky lighting conditions. Like the rest of this canal, there's a lot of trees around here and they're starting to look quite autumnal now, so it gets really beautiful as we travel a bit further towards Whaley Bridge. I am glad this is the last swing bridge though. Well, that's that done. From now on it's pretty easy cruising. Just immediately on the other side of this bridge we have Furness Vale Marina. Now it goes on for quite a long way and there's no mooring on the towpath whilst you're going through this section. This marina section carries on as far as the next bridge. now we've finally cleared the marina. Moorings after this point are fairly few and far between. There's places where the canal is too narrow, there's places where it's too shallow and rocky, so there's quite limited mooring spaces. Most boaters, when they pass this point, will probably moor up in Bugsworth Basin. And here we are, straight onto a very narrow section of canal. It's overgrown, it's on a bend, and the sun is straight into my eyes. I'm certain to meet another boat. Well, luckily that worked out all right. Now, this next part we're going through lots of trees and it's really quite beautiful, but I warn you that the light is very flickery, so if you're sensitive to flickering lights, be careful. This footbridge is bridge number 32, and if you want to moor up around here, on the other side of it is really quite a nice little spot, but I do warn you that to our left and down the valley there is a sewage treatment works, so if the wind is in the wrong direction it may not be a very good idea to stop here. I did stop here on my return journey and everything was fine, and there's some absolutely glorious views over to the left here. The little action camera that I'm using doesn't really do justice to that view. It is absolutely beautiful. And of course we're never all that far away from the railway line. We're getting close to Whaley Bridge now. We're passing some very busy roads. There's a lot of traffic down this end. That's an interesting little shed that someone's built in their garden. It's got a stove in it by the look of it. Here we are at the junction where the canal splits. If you turn left, you go to Bugsworth Basin. It's been renamed Bucksworth as well. Not everyone likes that new name, so they use both. But if you carry straight on, you go on down to the Whaley Bridge arm. From now on, almost the entire length of canal is occupied by long-term moorings. There's virtually nowhere for you to moor up, except at the very end there's room for about maybe 2 or 3 boats if you're lucky. I don't know if you can see it, but this tree leaning across the canal has been smacked by a few boats, so that's something to watch out for. On the right there is a very busy and noisy road which makes this mooring place pretty undesirable anyway. But I suppose it does have one redeeming quality. Immediately on our left, you can't really see it, is a large Tesco's supermarket. That wasn't there when I last came down here 20 years ago, and neither was that bridge up ahead. almost at the very end of the canal now. Immediately on the other side of this boat are the visitor moorings, and it's very limited. But you do stand a reasonable chance of getting a mooring spot here because not that many people want to moor so close to a busy road. As I said earlier, most boaters prefer to go to Bugsworth Basin to stop. Just by those people up ahead there, the canal ends in a winding hole and with boaters' facilities as well. And what is that strange fountain, I hear you ask? Well, I'll tell you about that in a moment. Meanwhile, I'm just going to turn around and then stop at the boaters' facilities. And here we have the rubbish disposal place and the L sand disposal. There's also a toilet there, but you need your waterways key to get into it. And just as I'm mooring up, here's the water point just ahead. Close to Whaley Bridge is Toddbrook Reservoir, and that's the reservoir that supplies water to the canal. And on the 1st of August 2019, after really heavy rainfall, the dam actually developed a huge fault, and there was at risk of it flooding the whole of the town. So you can see from the map just how close the reservoir is to the town and what damage it would do if the dam collapsed. Here's a close-up of the dam. This is before the damage occurred. And you can see the failure point was these slabs of concrete started to get washed away. So I walked up to Toddbrook Reservoir and it's all closed off to the public. As you can see, it's been drained out. That's the dam up ahead, and they've pumped out the reservoir. These are huge pumps, and they pumped out over the hill down into the River Goyt on the other side. And as you can see, there's not much water left in it now. I was surprised just how deep it was. The dam itself is just basically an earthen bank lined with concrete slabs, and Chinook helicopters had to drop bags of rubble down into the hole that appeared. Luckily it didn't get any worse. Most of Whaley Bridge had to be evacuated, and I think it was like over a week they were all homeless and didn't know whether it was safe to return. Back at the canal now, that's the River Goyt down there, and they're pumping water from it up into the canal. That's that mysterious fountain we saw earlier. This is the only way to keep the canal topped up with water. So they've got pumps running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, just trying to keep the water levels topped up. So that's it for this video. In the next video we shall go to Bugsworth Basin. I shall show you what's there. So until then, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.